Welcome to another episode of Primo Talks. When it comes to life, you got to have those people around you who have those gifts and talents like you have in order for you to implement those things, so you know that the things that you're doing is moving you towards those goals, those dreams, those realities that you saw in your life. This is not the time for you to take a step back. It's a time for you to be teleported. This is a place where you can actually get the information that you need that you can implement today. Let's talk. My name is Primo Galicia, and welcome back to another episode of Primo Talks. Today I want to talk to you about part 2 of Turbulence. Now, for many of us, when it comes to being financially secure and independent, we need to understand that we can't be that or become that unless we have some form of turbulence. We have to go through the fire. We have to have such situations that cause us to really check all the dots and cross the T's. Again, without crossing those T's and dotting those I's, we find ourselves in situations that in any other time we may not be emotionally mature enough to handle. So on today, part 2 of Turbulence, well, if you haven't seen part 1, let me just tell you, check out part 1 before you watch part 2, because there's some ingredients and information that I put inside of that you would need in order to develop that character. In part 2, we're going to continue on. We're going to talk about the different kinds of turbulence that you may face. But remember, in order for you and me to be able to be successful in society, be secure, independent, make allocation decisions, be able to plan for our future where our future is not bleak, we're not concerned right now with everything going on in the market. The market could be a bull, the market could be a bear. Right? Currently, we're dealing with a market that it looks like a bull market, but the feds haven't called it that just yet. Even though they didn't call it, all the signs show that they didn't call it a bear market. Actually, they didn't call it a bear market, but we're dealing with the behavior of a bear market. Even gold is being affected. Now, I don't have to say this. Turn on your local, Google it, figure out. Gold used to be the safety net that everybody would go to during times like this, but we have a serious problem. Gold is actually down too in the last 90 days. It's at an all-time low. So not only do we have an inflationary period, not only is gold not the safe investment to go into, and again, I was reading that, so don't take my word for it. Go do your own research. Anytime you hear me talk, you need to make sure that you actually check and go do a study, because you need to have the same information, know where I got it from, and you can actually see that gold is at an all-time low. So that way, it's just me sharing with you. You know how Apple pops up little interesting comments. If you got an iPhone or you got an Android, they have their own little news section. Well, mine popped up on my iPhone. So as I was driving today, I saw all-time low in the last 90 days of gold. And I said, I already knew that, but at the same time, now Apple's telling the same information. Now, I don't get paid anything by Apple by mentioning Apple, but it's always a good thing to let people know where your footnotes or where you got the information from. So let's jump right into it. Turbulence part 2. Turbulence comes when you're shaking up the world. There's different levels of turbulence. You got number 1, bumps in the road which slow us down. We have flat tires that can stop us in our tracks. We have head-on collisions that require time and attention to heal. And then we have life-threatening or perceived life-threatening situations. Now let me just jump into this and tell you about the first one, bumps in the road which slow us down. When you're driving on the highway and you're driving too close to the car in front of you, or you see a pothole in the distance and you notice the traffic is not letting you get over, you slow down and kind of let that car on your right-hand side or left-hand side go around you. That's because you can see that pothole. But at the same time, what happens if you're going too close, which means you got tunnel vision? You're working so hard. You're learning, you're growing, you're dying every day. The person you was yesterday, you don't slaughter that person in order for you to get up and take this next step to go fight this war called entrepreneurship. And then you come and find out, wait a minute, I was driving too close to the car before me. I didn't see that, and you hit that pothole. When you hit that pothole, that little bump can take some time and it can slow you down. It didn't pop the tire though. It didn't put a donut, didn't make your car work, but you hit that hole and all of a sudden you back off driving too close. You back off hitting it so hard that you're oblivious to the overall view. You want to be mindful of that, because that's sometimes what happens to entrepreneurs is that they got so much tunnel vision that they're not seeing the whole thing objectively. They're so subjective, they run into a pothole. Flat tires can stop us in our tracks. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I haven't had a flat tire in give or take about 3 years. But unfortunately, one of my loved ones did, and they wasn't strong enough to change it. So this can actually knock you off If you mess around and get a flat tire, it can stop you in your tracks, and you may have to call your friend, your family, or a relative, like I got called, to come change a tire because they was too light in the butt. Now, when they light in the butt, grown men can't change tires that's made for men to change. If you have that type of situation, make sure you got somebody on speed dial who's an entrepreneur who can walk you through the process if you don't have the emotional servitude to get past through that moment because you just want to complain versus attack it. Next, head-on collisions that require time and attention to heal. Sometimes you've been in business and you hear this, oh, I'll never get a partner. Or you may hear somebody say, well, my last partner screwed me over. Or you may hear one of these statements, well, I try to do business, but it's very difficult doing business with my husband, or vice versa. I want to do business, but I can't work with my husband. Any of those type of head-on collisions, you're going to need some time to heal. Now, time to heal means you got to go through this whole situation and learn not to talk at yourself. You can talk to yourself. Talking to yourself is kind of working through it internally, seeing the things you can do better next time so you don't make the same mistakes. But when you talk at yourself, you're going to need some time to heal because you're going to have some internal conversation that's not healthy. It's not going to help you be a better steward or servant or capital allocation specialist. You won't do any of those things. What you're going to do is you're going to actually begin creating a phobia. Just like people have a fear of heights, you're going to have a fear of dealing with people. You're going to again, remember, trust is internal. So if you make it external, you got a problem right there. You're going to need some time to heal. And then 4, life-threatening or perceived to be life-threatening. I don't know about you, but it seems like lately most entertainers that come from small neighborhood or communities, or if it's not an entertainer or a comedian, it's somebody in the movie industry, and in the process of them, before they even became popular, they were working at a job. They had some friends from high school. It could be football players. We see this as football and basketball players. We seen recently the young lady who's over now, stuck in Russia because she had some e-cigarette that had some type of marijuana in it. Well, that's a life-threatening situation because that life-threatening situation has not only to stop their life, she don't know when she's coming home, and she could be tortured over there. We don't know. I'm not saying she is, but I'm saying anything can go wrong. Sometimes when you begin to have a breakout and you get turbulence because you're shaking up the world, you got to let your friends go. One of the interesting stories that got a person into a lot of trouble was Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was a great and phenomenal, not only most people know him as him playing basketball, but from Georgetown and into the 76ers, but I'm going to go one step further than that. Most people don't know how good of a quarterback he was when he was at Bethel High School. When he played for Bethel at Newport News, this man was good. Before there was a Michael Vick, there was always what they used to call an Iverson there. Now, he was known in the Hampton Roads area as a wonderful, both basketball and football, but a great quarterback. No one knows that about him. Now, with that being said, we have a situation where he ended up, because of his lifestyle, his associations in the past. We see the same thing happen with Michael Vick. We see the same thing happen with Michael Vick's brother. We see the same thing happen with many players. It's just a plethora of players where they get involved, they never change, and they bring that same group to where they actually have a breakout, where their life has changed. There's a lot of association, but they still bring that behavior. You've definitely seen it recently on entertainment. Just jump on YouTube and you see the next entertainer who got himself in trouble from still being associated with certain groups of people. But what do we have? A life-threatening or perceived life-threatening situation, and you either can see jail, death, or separation from the sport or activity they were doing, all because they did not deal with the turbulence correctly. See, when you're going to shake up the world, you have to know that as an entrepreneur, as an entertainer, as a comedian, as a human being, whenever you have turbulence, you have to be prepared and have the mental fortitude to actually get through that turbulence, to break out to where the inclement weather is no longer there. Don't get stuck in that turbulence because it can kill your dreams. Now, if you have never liked, subscribed, or checked out our channel before, I want to thank you for the first time you watching our videos. And there's more videos coming out. All these videos that we put out at CFS Studios, especially on Primo Talk, is really to help you develop the skills that you need in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur, and at the same time, very good when it comes to dealing with allocations of capital. See, most people go to college to get an education. They're not going to college so they can learn how to spend the money that they got the education with. So hopefully our channel will be the #1 channel that you will watch when you want to know how to allocate funds, so you just don't be smart, but you'll be wise when it comes to handling your money. Have a great day.